everybody, welcome to the Fire It Up with CJ show. Today we have Albert Amao, and we're talking about his book, Awaken the Power Within. Look, it's gleaming. Look at that on the video. It looks
Yeah.
psychedelic. In defense of self-help. So welcome, Albert.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
So tell me a little, you have a very interesting experience with self-help. Tell me a little bit about your personal experience with self-help and what motivated you to write this book.
Right. As I mentioned in my book, I was raised in a very poor environment, and my parents didn't have any means to send me to school. So I am talking about my native country, which is Peru. So what I had to do is to work very hard, doing since I was 15 years old, selling newspaper, uh, cleaning shoes, and everything that can have, can get some money for to help my family because I was the older child. I was the
Oldest
uh,
boy.
yeah, exactly. So, but I have the opportunity to get books, self-help books, like a New Thought movement, which is positive thinking. And I hook up to these books, and I follow the teaching of this book.
Mm.
And I made my way to get my PhD, and I got a scholarship to get to come here, and then I make my residence in the USA.
Mm. Where did you study in the U.S.? Sorry, my throat
No,
is.
no, in Peru, I got my PhD in Peru,
Ah,
but
okay.
I was come to study here and postgraduate.
Ah, okay, got it. Okay, so tell me about your first of all, how did you even get access to a self-help book? And what was your first self-help book and how
Well,
did it affect you?
right. I was working in a home with with my aunt, and these people had a very good library, which I have access to the library.
Like
And
an old person's home, or what kind of home was it?
it was she was working for them. She was the cook
Okay,
for these people,
okay.
and they were so nice that I could read the books, I can take it home, and I start reading their books. So that's why I become.
Mm,
Otherwise, I'm not gonna be access to to
yeah,
this kind of books. Yeah.
yeah. What was your first book? Do you remember?
Yes. 14 lessons of yogi philosophy, which is from uh, Yogi Ramacharaka. Ramacharaka was the Walter Atkins. Actually, he was the pseudonym that he was using, the pen name of William Atkinson, who was um, a New Thought writer, settled in Chicago.
Mm,
So he actually explained. Um, I harmonized my religious belief, which are very Catholic at that time, and the scientific, which contradicts all the tenets of the Christianity.
right.
So um, he helped me to see the world in different way, completely different way, and then
Mm.
he mentioned other books, and I started checking up also the other ones.
Okay, so I'm just curious, what was your parents' reaction when you said, "Hey, this whole Christian ideas, I'm
Yeah,
starting
right.
to question it." What
Uh,
was that? What was that
but
like?
my mother at that point was already deceased.
Oh,
She
okay.
passed away when I was only 14 and a half
Oh,
years
I'm
old.
sorry. Yeah.
And my father was in her own business. It was dysfunctional family, and I was doing my life by myself. Actually, they were in another city, and I was already in Lima, which is the capital of Peru.
So you're pretty much an emancipated adult by yourself,
Exactly.
living
Yeah.
as an
Yeah.
adult.
Right.
So did it so it was in contrast to the Christian. So what were the kind of ahas for you when you read that work versus the way that you were raised?
Yes. Uh, this crisis happened when I was already in the university in Lima, which is at that time in Lima, Peru. The university was the students have a lot of power. Who were the students were socialists or communists,
Hmm.
and they, for example, they don't believe in in Jesus, or they don't believe in God. They are communists. They are,
Ah, okay, yeah.
materialistic socialists.
Right.
So, and uh, and when I read this book, in which said, everything is energy, everything is light. There is no matter. So I become that was a big shock for me, because I only believed in the Christian tenets, which you have to believe in the sacraments, and you have to believe by faith, by leap of faith, whatever. But he harmonized all my religious belief and the materialistic and scientific beliefs. But
Interesting. So, how did you know which one was true? Like, how did you know? Here you're presented with communists who believe there is no God. Your
right,
Christian beliefs, which had these very ritualistic things, and then this
right.
new book that you read about energy. How did you make the decision on which thing was true?
Um, Actually, at that time, I became also in the school, and the university. The best students were communists or materialistics.
Mm-hmm.
So I became very proficient on that too. I could start reading Mark, Trotsky, Lenin, Mao, all the books, which was given almost free. I mean, the propaganda of the communism was trying to infiltrate the students and the people
Yeah.
to literature, like the evangelists who give Bible, who give all.
Yeah, it's like an evangelical thing.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. They used to do it. So I started reading all of this stuff, and I become very proficient, because my first girlfriend was member of the Socialist Party over there. So, and it's very amazing, all the things that I went through, but they helped me in this. So I get a lot of experience, not only through self-help or positive thinking. I live really what life is.
Yeah.
Uh,
You
uh,
had a pretty big range of all these different
right.
perspectives on what life was all
Yes.
about, right?
Yeah.
Was it
You got
what you read in Marx, or was it what you learned with your family, or what you read in books?
right.
So, how did you come to find your own truth?
I search. I become a Freemason. I don't know if you are aware about the Freemason, who actually there are 13 presidents of America who were
Freemasons, yeah.
Masons,
Yeah.
which is a philosophical organization.
Mm.
Uh, you can be a Buddhist, you can be Christian, you can be atheist. The only thing that no atheist, no, I'm sorry. You have to believe only on God. You can be
Any religion, but you just have to
any
believe there is
religion,
something.
right?
Okay.
But they help also in your self improvement,
Oh.
because the main object is to serve humanity, how to improve themselves, how to improve humanity. So
Hmm.
they have also a philanthropic organization that help people. Then I become also very proficient in reading um, other metaphysical school. There was, for example, in Lima, Peru, at that moment, there was the Gran Fraternidad Universal, which is the great fraternity, universal great fraternity, in which they used to teach yoga, vegetarian food. They
Wow.
used to teach um, all this kind of Indian philosophy,
Yeah.
like the Vedas.
At Lima
Yeah,
University, they were teaching us, and they had a school. What was the school
right.
again? Say the name again more slowly.
San Marcos University is the
Marcos
university.
University. Okay, got it. And they had this school where they were teaching all these things. Wow.
Right.
So,
So,
but that was different than the other school that you were in. This is
right.
a subsection of your school, or the same school?
No, there was the different organizations in which I was trying to, as you said, you really was a great question, because I was trying to search what is true. I mean,
Mm,
the materialistic scientific approach, or the Catholic, which you have to take by leap of faith,
yeah,
whatever. So
yeah.
I was very confused. So I started searching. You cannot believe me. I've been Rosicrucian, I've been a Mason, Freemason, I've been, so because I want to know by experience, not because somebody else said. not because somebody tried to teach you. I have to look at it by myself. I have to see what it's all about. So that's why
That's how you
most of
found the
my life
truth.
have been up to now. I keep searching, and actually, my next book, which is coming maybe next year, is the title is "The Purpose of Human Existence." The purpose of human
Oh,
existence.
wow. Okay,
Why
that's a pretty big
purpose?
title. You don't
You
mess
are,
around.
and I have to read. I mean, I become very proficient with all the existentialism,
Yeah.
phenomenological existentialism philosophy, and also since the point of view of religions, what is the purpose of human existence? Since the point of view of materialism, what is the purpose? So I try to get a summary, and I got my own conclusion. For me, the purpose of human existence is to unfold your consciousness, because everybody in some way or another, we are growing. So we have to um, express our awareness in higher awareness as long you study and meditate and try to do the best for human being. The ultimate thing is the awareness, expansion of awareness. And this is kind of
Do
long,
you,
but
but that so you I think the purpose of human existence. So how do you explain people who don't have any spiritual practice? Are they still expanding their consciousness?
but in a limited way.
Mm-hmm.
In a limited, if you believe in reincarnation, they're gonna come up in a situation, in a place where they have to grow a little bit higher. The key is that, as Carl Jung, other great philosophers said, like Hegel, George Hegel said that everything is just consciousness, and not science, quantum science. They're saying everything is just consciousness, it's energy, that's nothing else, it's consciousness. And the other scientists also, they said that nothing exists, everything is just illusion. It's not a
Mm-hmm.
religion, it's not a yogi perspective, it's scientists,
Right.
quantum physics. So that's in some way everything is consciousness. But the thing is, you have to expand. You have to contribute to the expansion of consciousness, because there is a theory that God is working through you, and to himself he wants to expand the level of consciousness.
Okay,
That's
so God is working. So God is working through me, trying to get me to expand my consciousness, so that
and that he also is doing at the same time. I mean,
right, right. He like as if I expand my consciousness, it expands all of consciousness.
right.
Me,
That's it.
CJ Lou, just sitting here getting better is helping all of consciousness because we're all
Exactly.
connected. We're
Yeah.
never separate. So
Yeah.
if you do your work, if I do my work, if no one does their work, still you and I are doing our work and we're expanding it
Right.
maybe
Right.
more slowly, but
Right.
still we're still expanding consciousness. So the
Exactly.
purpose of human existence is to expand our consciousness.
Exactly.
I buy that.
Which is awareness. In some ways, awareness, because every time do you learn more, do you are aware of things that you were aware before. So it's the
Yeah, so it
uh,
could be very simple because like I wasn't aware. I hadn't met you before. I wasn't aware of you. Now that I'm aware of you, my awareness increases. It could be as simple as
exactly,
that level of awareness versus a higher level of awareness is that awareness is around us all the time. There's awareness
exactly,
at this
right,
very moment, like everything is alive and around me is aware and one with me. So there's this different level of awareness too.
right, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So tell me how this. So you had your own pre-constructed self-help program, self-directed, right? So you met the communists.
Some
You
way.
met.
Right,
You had your family, the communists. You
right,
went to. You read this book that you got serendipitously through this library, and then you went to Lima, and then you got additional. You had this like
right.
unbelievable school, frankly, that school existed with all
Right.
the yoga, everything. Okay, so where does self help factor into that?
Um, my question is, as a seeker of truth, um, I try to find out how this works. If this works or not works. What I see here in America is there are so many.
Oh,
There are
so many.
more than 300,000 in the internet self-help programs,
Yes.
which is right. I mean, all the self-help programs promise you to become rich, to find the perfect spouse, to lose weight, to find the perfect friend. So many promises.
Right.
But what is true about it?
Yeah.
For example, also there are false fake um,
You call them snake oil
prophets.
sellers, right?
Yeah, the
False prophets.
false prophets that promise so many things.
Yes.
And what is true about it? And the problem is sometimes is more harmful than they help, because at the end, these people who are seeking some kind of help, they don't find at the end any solution to their problems. So they become depressed and they think that something is wrong with them. Actually, uh, since we have this nice conversation at the beginning, actually everything is in you. You have to work yourself, your inner self. You have to strengthen. I went to all these suffering, trials, and tests, and I realized by myself, by own experience, not by somebody else tells me
Yes.
that
You have to do your own work. You can't have someone like give you a
no,
10-step process.
yes, all the schools, the real spiritual school said very clear. You, Buddha said, you have to do your own work. Don't expect that somebody else is going to do it for you.
Yeah.
That's the job. And
Yeah.
this thing is the same thing. We can get some inspiration, we can get some guidance, but you will have to do it, and we have to strengthen our inner self so we can be able to face any solution, any problem in life.
The problem is that, I look at what you were able to accomplish from age, from the life that you had. Your mother passed, father not even there, basically raising yourself at age 15. Like, you must have a certain amount of tenacity that most people don't have.
That's the book they gave me to that. If I like this philosopher, American philosopher William James said, no, I'm sorry, Ralph Waldo Emerson. Ralph
Ralph
Waldo
Emerson, yeah.
Emerson. He said, when you take a decision, the whole world conspires to make it happen. The whole world conspires. And
Yeah.
this is absolutely true, because when I propose, for example, to write a book, and I need some information. Sometimes in the library, somebody left a book on the table. It was, or in the newspaper I found, from my book shelf for one book, and I find the information that was. It's amazing when you propose, when you really have this resolution to get something, things fall by itself in the long run.
Yeah, I've had that happen too. I've literally had a book fall, like literally come off my shelf, hit me on the head, and I'm like, okay, I guess I'm supposed to read this
Yes,
book.
yes.
So you think authentic self-help then really is about reading, using, because like when I think about your approach, right? You read and looked at lots of different approaches, not just one, and then your ability to discern and pick was part of how you actually grew, because you didn't you I don't know how you took, so let me just, because I think people are like, oh yeah, you can do it because you're really tenacious, but I can't do that. But here you had, you went, you had your upbringing, you had the communist manifestos, you had all this other stuff. How you said that you used your personal experience in knowing how to pick, and what does that mean? Like, how, when you say, oh, people can only learn through their own experiences what's true or not, what specifically does that mean? Can you give me an example?
Okay. First of all, let me tell you that, as I said before, when you take a decision to get something, the whole world conspires to make it happen.
Yeah.
Um, there is something in you. Maybe I was predestined or something that was always pushing me to seek more, never be happy with whatever I achieved. So I was always um, the inner self. The inner self, if you allow them in meditation, I start practicing meditation with the yoga techniques, and that's also helped me. And they gave me this um, power, on I can say that inner strength to seek for something else. That's the main thing. So that's what leads me to
So
all
it's your
this.
experience. It's well, then it's two things. It's your inside wisdom, an inner wisdom that you built up through meditation and kind of
Right.
trusting that inner
Yeah.
wisdom that was going to guide you along.
Exactly. You got it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
got it. So that's how you, and then you would have a guide, you would go experience something, and then you'd look at your inner wisdom and say, yes, no, I take some of this, I throw the rest of it away.
Right. Right. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So, when the self help, when you talk about what else do we need to know to understand for authentic self help?
The trust in your inner self. This is very important. You have to trust in your inner self, and if you allow it talk to you, the Bible said the still inner voice, which is your inner self, is gonna talk to you in several ways. It's not gonna talk to you, but it's gonna give you some idea, some inspiration, something to pursue it. But you feel it. You feel it that it's something inner, and the trust on this. All the great men who were successful in history, they said, trust yourself, trust your inner self. That's the way they got.
Yeah.
Lincoln, Washington, all these, trust in yourself.
The
Trust you.
Freemasons, trust in
Right,
yourself. And
right,
God we trust. It says in God we trust on our money, but I guess it should say trust in
right.
yourself.
Yeah.
If they could remake the bill, maybe it'd say trust
Mm-hmm.
yourself. Um, so, so when we, so now I'm going back to the kind of snake oil salesman, and when you say that, what I think of is just like get $1 million, make your first $1 million on
Right.
this YouTube course, stuff like that. That it's like what? Yeah, but it's people who don't who have an expert that they think that they can believe in, and maybe some of the expertise that that person is offering is good, but if you kind of swallow it, like you just take all of it and digest it in and not trust yourself, you give your power to another person.
There you are. There you are.
Yeah, then
The
I think,
problem is that exactly what happened in most of the people. They gave the power, and the other people do whatever they want to. They brainwash. In other words, the mind of the churchgoers, or their followers, or their people who are there. They brainwash, and like there is one saying which said, if they make you believe in absurdities, you will commit absurdities. So atrocities, you will commit atrocities.
if they make you agree in
Believe,
absurdities, they'll have you'll do things with atrocity.
yeah, you will
Yeah,
commit. Like for example, let's say Stalin,
yeah,
Hitler. They may believe in nonsense or in unrealities or absurdities. So the saying is that if they make you believe in absurdities, you will commit atrocities.
yeah.
Atrocities.
Ah,
So
that's interesting.
that's
So like
that's
if
the problem.
yeah,
That's the problem of most of these people because, for example, there are so many occult, what they call occult
hmm
or esoteric school,
hmm
which they offer you enlightenment or they offer you peace of mind forever.
hmm
And or like Edgar Tolle, the power of now, he offered you to make you enlightened in couple of days, and that never happened. Or
Eckhart Tolle didn't say that, really.
yes, he said I do it in my book. He said very clear when he said I gonna with this um, statement or whatever because he's gonna teach you, they're gonna make you enlightened. So I
Enlightenment in
try
a
to,
couple days. Well, maybe you get lightened up. I don't
yeah,
know.
not in a
Well,
couple of days, but like I said, almost immediately.
wow.
For example, however, that book was sell millions of books,
Yeah.
and people believe it. I don't understand. Yes, people believe it in sense without any judgment.
Yeah.
Like the same thing, the Rhonda Burns, the book, The Secret.
Oh, yeah.
There was no secret at all. All this information she copied from the Walter Atkinson that I mentioned before, Rogi
Oh,
Ramacharaka. He was the first who said who spoke about the law of attraction, and the secret is the law of attraction. That's the
right.
secret.
Right.
And however, everything was already in the New Thought literature, New Thought,
Yeah.
and however people believe because it was the way that she publicized, the way she tried to sell the book with video, with the way that if you read this book, you're gonna become get whatever you want. You wanna become rich. You wanna become whatever desire you have. That was the secret. Actually, the secret was used by Napoleon Hill in his book. Um, um, I have the book here, but Napoleon Hill, as you know, is he used the word secret several times, and the secret is how to use your power yourself to get whatever you want to manifest it in life.
Right. Right. So I think that the problem with The Secret is that there is a fundamental flaw because it presumes that our free will equals the will of a higher will, and that sometimes they're not the same.
Right,
Like,
right, absolutely.
I may want to be a Peruvian man, but I'm not. I'm a Chinese woman. So
Right.
I could spend a lot of time trying to like manifest that to happen, but the higher will didn't make that happen in
Mm.
this lifetime, right? So I think that that's an absurd example, but I think it's an example of like, so, in The Secret, someone is hoping for a Cartier watch. I think that's the one thing, or like
Yeah.
some fancy watch that they have, and I remember showing and feeling irritated, or it was like a Tiffany ring or something. So they have the person looking and going, "I can manifest that," and it's like, well, no, I don't. Maybe like if it's meant to be, if it's meant in the highest
You
good for
know,
you to get it, maybe that will happen, but it won't. So the thing that you're saying is, so people get frustrated because they're like, why isn't
yeah,
I've
that's
done
why they get.
everything?
That's why my postulate is they make more harm than good.
Yeah.
And you know why these people become bestsellers, authors?
Hmm.
Because the this lady from the TV
Hmm.
um, who publicized this book. Do you remember the name of the opera, Winter Opera?
Oprah. Yeah, Oprah.
They publicized the book on two or three shows of the
The Secret.
yes, the secret too,
Oh,
and
okay. Oh,
also
but this is
the
another
power of
book.
now, the power of now,
Oh, The Power
and
of Now. Yeah, she's a big supporter of The Power of Now.
the people start buying the book like a crazy.
Right.
So that's what I'm saying. If somebody said one authority or big chat that this something is good, people is gonna just buy it without any discrimination. So
Right.
what I am trying to say is we have to use our power of the discrimination. And the other problem is what I found is we are becoming quick fix society because
Hmm.
we want immediately and easy,
Right.
right away,
That's true.
right away. So that's why we flock to these programs. Somebody promised that you're gonna get it quick through this formula or through prescription,
Yeah.
and you go buy it.
Right.
So that's what's also one of the problems.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. I mean, a lot of our dependency on pharmaceuticals are based on I
Right.
don't, and I fall prey to it, right? I could either, I'd like to lose 5 pounds. I'd like to take a pill to lose 5 pounds. I would rather do that than do what I did this morning, which is wake up at 5 in the morning and do a really hard gym, cardio, and weightlift. Pill, like an hour of like blood and sweat. It's like, well, what's really going to end up having results where my ultimate health is actually better? Yeah, waking up at 5 in the morning and doing a really hard workout is
That's the
better than
best.
taking a pill. There is this kind of, oh, I have a headache, take a pill. I want to lose 5 pounds, take a pill. I mean, I'm not above any of that for sure, but I think that there's something in the. I was talking to my son yesterday. I was like, honey, there's something in the struggle. When you struggle and you work really hard, you've earned it. Like there's something that comes, there's growth that comes from that. If you take the pill, there's no growth, right? If I'm sitting there working out and trying to get my abs tighter, my arms stronger, there literally is muscle growth. If I take
Exactly.
the pill, I may actually have the same result in terms of the number of pounds that I lose.
That is
Yeah, but there's
absolutely
no growth. There's no growth in the and life is about, I think, going back to what you said, if our true purpose a purpose of living is to increase our consciousness, there's a lot of awareness and consciousness. The
exactly
quick fix,
right.
not
Yeah,
really.
that's why we are becoming a very depressed society.
Yeah.
We have to balance our life. I play every other day tennis or pickleball, for example, because too much intellectual is gonna take it.
Not good
I,
for
I have
anyone.
I have to also to exercise my body, otherwise I'm not gonna work.
Right.
And as you said perfectly, it has to be a harmonious balance between mind and body.
Yeah.
It's very important. It's
Yeah.
very important.
All right. So we talked about snake oil substance, and so the what other things would you say about the scope and problems of the self help market right now?
There is so many. Actually, my first book, one of the first book was Healing Without Medicine, in which I analyze also how many techniques, false technique, or uh, most of the healing, most of the problems that you have in life is resolved through suggestion. It's again in you. Once they put a suggestion in you, there is a nocivo suggestion. Nocivo suggestion is when the doctor or somebody said you or give you some idea, or the TV or the movies
Right.
give you some idea, and you is still in your subconscious mind is gonna become externalized in you.
Yeah. Yeah.
In most of the illnesses is that. So do you think why pharmaceutical companies spend millions of billions of dollars to promote one? They have to gain back their money.
Right.
They're not gonna publicize. They're not gonna spend so much money in advertisement. They have to get back their money, and their
Right.
back their money is selling these products,
Right.
and that is creating sometimes illnesses that don't exist in
Well, no,
human
I know.
beings.
I don't know if you have children, but I have two boys, 18 and 20. But in their childhood, there are things like ADHD, ADD, which I'm sure everyone in my generation
Right,
had. We just called it different things like hyperactivity or something,
right,
or like,
yeah,
spacey, but no one took pills for it. It was just like, okay, I have this. And now everyone, when you turn around, is being diagnosed. I'm sure if I was younger, I would have been diagnosed as one of these things, but I didn't know, so therefore I didn't have it. It's like also like I actually, I had I fell, I was biking and I fell right on my elbow, really hurt. And I thought, oh, I'll go to the doctor. And I had little kids under 5, and so I ran around all day, and I was like running errands and driving and picking up kids out of car seats and
right.
all those things. And then I went into the I'm like, I guess I better go to the doctor because it still hurts. And she said, you actually have a fractured elbow. and,
Oh,
and she said, and I said, oh. And she said, but you know what? You have full mobility because you didn't know and you were just running around all day. So it ended up being what you were doing, which was running around all day,
right,
like ended up being the very best thing that you could do. Somehow not knowing, if I'd known, maybe I'd been like, oh, I have to be careful and put my arm in a cast and like
right.
not moved it and like really worried about it and iced it and everything. But because I didn't know, like the ignorance ended up being okay.
But you know what I found is your body. Your body is a wonderful machine that it can heal itself if you
Yeah.
allow it. If you allow it. I mean,
Did you have a healing experience yourself? Tell me what you
so
mean.
many, so many,
Yeah,
so
so
many.
give me an example of some of the
For
healing
example, when
experiences.
I was, my family was very poor. When I also was riding a bicycle, I fall and broke my one of my bones in my shoulder,
Oh, wow.
and there was no money to take to the doctor, no money
Yes.
heal by itself. And now I play tennis well. Sometimes I have a little pain, but I play tennis very well or
How did it
pickleball.
heal by itself? Did someone had
Your
to
body,
snap it back,
your
right?
body has all the power to heal itself. If your body doesn't need other implement, sometimes we can help the body, but
Right.
at the end, I prove in my book, at the end, all healing is self-healing.
Mm,
Self-healing meaning that your body is self-healing. If you allow it, you um, most of the illnesses is self-imposed because
mm,
we have a complex that we did something wrong in life and that we don't deserve to be happy. We self-punishment
mm,
ideas that we install in our mind when we were a child and that we don't remember now.
mm,
There are more many ideas
mm,
that so that's become
mm.
some sooner or later um, externalized. That's why in the past they used to be going back to the snake oil sellers. In the past, the snake oil seller used to come to the public places and used to sell snake oil. Said this is gonna heal all the illnesses. This is gonna be also good for bringing your spouse back. I mean, it was the panacea. That's
Right.
what we call the snake oil sellers. And this is, I put that the snake oil seller is the same like these people, the false, new age false gurus, um, promising so many um, to many techniques, and they gonna make um, they make gonna make people happy and
Mm.
peaceful forever. There's not gonna be any problem if they buy to their technique, and their technique are very expensive, by the way.
Yeah, yeah. No, I actually just interviewed someone who had a guru. And by the way, when her guru took them to spiritual journeys, so she had said that in this book, she had gone to Egypt, and the teacher cost, $10,000 for the flight and expenses for Egypt, and then another $5,000 just for the teacher fee. She's like, "What's a teacher fee?" It's like, "Well, you get to spend special time with your guru, so you got to pay up. Each person has to pay 5 grand." And she said, "Wow." And so, like, when that, I mean, so that's like to me like a snake oil kind of
Right, right,
scenario. Yeah.
right.
So
And
I'm just
besides that,
curious. So you're there's so many shamans in Peru and the
yeah.
area that you're from. Did you study that as well as in your journey?
No, no, I actually, for some reason, I didn't have chance, and on the other hand, I didn't believe. And beside that, I was Christian at that time, and that was
Ah.
satanic, something that Christianity, I mean, the old Christianity is anything that goes out of the frames of the
Yeah.
teaching of
Yeah,
Christ,
that's
whatever.
like heathen devil worship probably, right? And
Exactly,
yeah.
exactly.
Okay,
So
now what do you think? Would you try it? You're still young. You can go check it out, Albert.
I can approach ayahuasca.
Yeah, are you
That's
gonna?
what that's what they did. A lot of people know, but it's drugs that they said that people can enline it. I don't know. I never tried
Yeah,
because
oh, you have all these Americans going, and I've actually heard people who've had incredible experiences, people who
yeah,
have nightmare experiences. It all depends on the person leading you and your own inner state. I mean, just going back to what you said, your original premise. I had a friend who went there who was not innerly, I would say that when she went, she was not innerly whole,
hmm
grounded,
right.
found her own inner truth. So when she went, it was awful. She had an awful experience, just like one catastrophic nightmare after another, crying, feeling pain. And she said she felt the most pain that she's ever felt before. So
Yeah, everybody's different, and
Yeah.
everybody can um, the same like the medicine. Sometimes the medicine can make you good for one person, but it is poison for the another.
Yeah.
That's what they call what is meat for one, it can be a poison for other people.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's one saying. Another saying is that um, according to your belief, it will be done.
Okay.
Is
So,
your belief?
yeah. So let's go to your future work, maybe when you're talking about consciousness, and you're saying that really it's about the purpose in our life is expanding consciousness. Maybe
Yeah.
not in this lifetime, maybe the next lifetime. Like, who knows? But each lifetime after lifetime, we expand our consciousness. So, so what do you think consciousness is? When, like, how are you defining consciousness, and what does that mean in terms of how that primary purpose would govern our lives?
Um, Consciousness. Some philosophers like Hegel call absolute idea or absolute spirit. Actually, for me, is consciousness is what pervades or the Veda said consciousness everything.
Mm-hmm.
Everything is just consciousness, is energy.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is, the Maya doesn't allow us to see the reality, but everything is just in vibration, energy in vibration in different rates of level. So consciousness is actually is the only thing that is conscious. Consciousness, if you wanna call God, is consciousness. There is nothing else. Nothing else in the world. You are made by consciousness. That shadow we are seeing
You
is
live in consciousness, you
energy.
are consciousness,
Yeah.
everything is consciousness. Okay,
The
got
thing
it.
is, we're deluded. We are deluded that to feel that you, I, are separate. But in reality, science and psychiatry, like Jung said, we are united in the one mind,
Mm-hmm.
one eternal mind, and
Mm-hmm.
everybody has to contribute to this expansion because, according to them, God is also learning from this experience, and that God is working through us. Actually, we are not the one who suffer. We are not the one who have.
You
Um,
mean God is suffering because he's like, oh my gosh, I'm trying.
yeah, is the idea is the same God is who is acting through us,
Yeah,
and
God is experiencing life through
yeah,
us.
Jesus Christ said this the same thing. I do nothing by myself. The Father who dwells in me, He does the work.
Yeah.
He does the work.
Uh,
So it's not him. It's not me. It's him. He who is doing this. So he uses us. He uses
right.
us.
Yeah, we are, well, we're one with, if we're one with God, which that's what I believe. I don't know if you believe that, but if we are one with God, God is within us, everything is God around us, then I think that that's like a pretty big shift in the way that you think about life. And it
Exactly.
changes everything, I think.
You become more compassionate. You know that the other people also are growing up,
Yeah.
and everybody is growing. It's like a school. We are in different stage of level. So that's the only thing. That's the only thing that the great master of wisdom say
Yeah.
the same thing.
So, how did you come to this conclusion? Is it just through all of your studies and research and kind of going into your inner truth? Like, how did you come up with this body of work, and how have, like, are you engaged in a spiritual practice? How have you increased your consciousness every day?
Um, Actually, this is not um, nothing new. Actually, this is thousands of years already. A scientist said the not mystics have said, but we don't realize, for example, that I couldn't believe it. Now, going all these years, decades of study and meditation, I become, yeah, this is true. And now science themselves, quantum physics, are saying it's just consciousness. There is nothing else. It's consciousness. Everything is consciousness. It's energy. The energy is conscious energy
Hmm.
that creates everything. And other, like, I don't know if you heard the theory of biocentrism. Biocentrism is by two doctors. One is physics and another is genetic engineering,
Mm-hmm.
and who said nothing exists. It's just energy, it's consciousness, everything. So, and beside that, many Nobel Prize physics who say the same thing. Same
So you're
thing.
saying everything. So in my parlance, I'm non-dual tantric Shaivas. That's one of the things that I've been focusing on recently. It is that everything is Shakti. Shakti is energy. And so everything that exists around us is a manifestation of consciousness. So, you know, this coffee is a
Right.
manifestation of
Exactly.
consciousness. You and I
Yeah.
are a manifestation of consciousness. This pen is a manifestation of consciousness.
Exactly.
It
Yeah.
may not have unlimited consciousness, right? Like this pen can't do
Mhm.
a business plan. I can write a business plan. This pen can help me, but it's not really doing the work. So it doesn't have that level of consciousness. So, I mean, how are you developing your consciousness then? Is it so? It sounds like you're doing meditation. It sounds like you have a yoga practice of some sort. I
Right.
mean, what kinds of things have you crafted your own set of tools, or how have you crafted your own experience to develop your consciousness?
It's all the studies and research and investigation that I do is making me aware of this truth.
So it's your
So
breath. So you're basically when you're becoming more aware, the more knowledge
there
and
you are. Yeah.
wisdom.
You grow up. Yeah. You
Okay.
expand. Whatever when you get more knowledge, more level of wisdom,
Hmm.
you see the world or the everything from higher level. So everything is
Okay.
changed. So, and actually, I think I think we live in different dimensions, and the switch of consciousness, the switch of reality, they take you to another place, and this disappears. And you see that was only energy. It's a switch of consciousness.
Right. Right. So have you actually experienced states like that where you're
A
like,
little bit faint. I see a faint of light, something, but I didn't yet, to
yeah,
be honest, get this realization or
yeah.
this alignment, whatever you wanna call it.
Yeah, I have some friends who are Buddhists, and it's interesting because when you go down that path of experiencing more and more that this is Maya, that this is an illusion, that this is just all energy, that all these things, all these constructs, these words, these definitions, these experiences, these stories that we define as us, when you get to the point where all of that is empty, you get to a nihilistic state. And then they, and sadly for them, where I have a whole group of people that I hang out with in Seattle, probably 9, and they all feel like they don't want to even do anything. When you realize that it's all nothing, you can get into these states of like, why bother? Oh bother. Like there's not all this stuff is ridiculous. Why should I participate in it? I mean that is one thing that happens on the path, I guess, that I've
That's
been noticing.
that's one of the how can I say it, the flows that this can take it,
Yeah,
that to be an as you say a nihilistic point of view,
yeah,
but as everything has to work, you cannot leave it. You have to participate.
yeah. No, well,
But
it's funny
af-
because so that's like kind of their approach. The Buddhists, it's all empty. It's nothing. There's no content. So you can go either way. If it's nothing, then it's also everything, right? If it's
exactly,
nothing, then it's
and it's
also
up to you.
everything. So I
It's
go,
up
I
to you.
go the like it's
Right.
everything. Why? I'd rather go into that's everything and
Right.
be
It,
excited when I see this pen, which is one of my favorite pens. It's instead of
it's
going, this pen is meaningless, it's nothing, to go like, well, this pen is tremendous. Like, as a result of this pen, I can write a business plan. Like, this pen is fabulous. So you can go in either direction. I'm not saying I'm there all the time,
right.
but at the same time, I think you have to make a decision on whether you see it as nothing or everything, or whether you see the world as
Okay. It,
beautiful or
yeah. Thank you for
awful.
bringing up this point. What I found is up to you. It's up to me.
Yeah,
What what I have to do with my life, for example, where I
yeah,
take it. So it's not anybody. It's up to me to create this reality.
right.
You create your own reality by your thought, feelings, and emotion. You create it. So it's
Yeah.
up to me to create it this way or that way.
Yeah.
So again, going back is you to
Yeah.
inner you
Yeah,
approach.
it's funny. I think actually one of the most interesting conversations that I had this group that we meet with all the time, these nine Buddhists. I'm a tantric Shaivist, and some other guy is whatever the Adi Ashanti Rupert Spira thing is. I'm not sure what that is. Anyway, so we have a mixed group. Everyone has a different kind of
Right.
practice. But I said, so in the end, like, what are you trying to achieve? Like, what, like, if there is a goal, if there ever is a goal, I'm like, what, ultimately, what kind of state do you want to be living in? And it was interesting because one said peace, the other said, equanimity, and I said joy. I mean, it's just like so you create, your path creates what you, like, the
Exactly. That's
reality
what
that
I
you want to
said in my
create.
book. You got it. You are very smart.
Yeah,
You create your path to go to the level of more awareness.
right. And what you want. But some people, and I actually, like, they're like, oh, you want joy? I'm like, yeah, that's not the whole point. And they're like, no, for me, it's peace. And I was like, really? And they're like, I'm like, yeah. So I was like, all you want to do is be peaceful? And they're like, yeah. And I was like, oh, I mean, it's just interesting. It's not what I would have chosen, but it's
Okay.
not, mine is not better or wrong, and theirs is not better or wrong. It's just whatever we're choosing.
Right. And what
Excuse
I
me.
also think is peace. We have to search enough for happiness because happiness doesn't exist actually. It's abstract thing.
Yeah.
You be, you we should seek for peace instead of mind, and peace instead of mind is gonna bring happiness.
Yeah.
That's an additional stuff because happiness, nobody, there is no happiness.
Yeah.
They may be
But joy
called
is, I,
happy,
I
I am
think,
happy, I'm happy, but sometimes you go through and you are in life and you're gonna find things that are gonna aggravate you or gonna
but
make
I
you
see, I think the difference is happiness is conditional upon other states happening around you, fulfilling your expectation.
right,
Joy is irrespective of that. I could
right,
just be sitting on my cushion, closing my eyes, and feeling joy, and nothing
right,
is happening. I'm not doing anything. I'm not like I. So I think that there's a slight difference between joy and happiness, but in my mind,
right. But that's the spring from inner peace.
yeah.
All this come up from inner peace. You don't have inner peace, you
I
don't
see.
have
So
any
so
of those.
so if I were to ask you, you'd say inner peace
Right,
because you're saying a derivative of inner peace is joy, but you have to have inner peace to have that. That's like that's the root. If you're shooting for something, it's inner peace, and then you will get all these other fruits off of that tree. But inner peace is the thing that you're focusing on.
I think yes. For
Yeah,
me, that's my opinion.
yeah.
It's
I
my
don't
opinion.
I don't agree yet, but who knows? Maybe I will.
Good. That is
Okay,
beautiful.
Albert, go take some ayahuasca. Um, explore.
I will in your name.
We've been talking to Albert Amao, and we've been talking about his book, Awaken the Power Within in Defense of Self Help. Thank you so much for being
Thank you
here.
very much for having me.